everybody, it's Laura here from laurajohagan.com. I wanted to come in and chat with you really briefly this morning or this evening, wherever you are in the world, about the kinds of things that I'm currently supporting my clients with at the moment, because I think these are really relevant to everyone in my community and my audience. So in case you don't kind of know a bit about my background, so I am really someone with a business background. So as we're moving through this current pandemic, economic kind of crisis that we're all kind of confronting at the moment, I really am not going to be talking about the health aspect, because that's just really not my field. That's just not my area. So of course, I'm encouraging everyone to check in with your local health departments, check in with your the World Health Organization, whoever it is that you get your information from. I really encourage you to do that and follow the advice that's coming from there. What I'm really here to talk about is from a business perspective, because we're all facing these times that feel really unprecedented. But from my background, I really feel like these are things that we can draw on lessons from times where these things have happened before. And that's really what I'm supporting my clients with at the moment. So I just wanted to come in for a couple of minutes and talk about that. So in case you don't know me, I'm a mindset coach and business strategist. My background is in finance, accounting, business strategy. So I sort of had a 10, 12 year corporate career before I moved into my own business coaching business. And that has involved working in financial services during the global financial crisis, sort of through 2008, 9 and 10. Working in management consulting, so strategic advisory, working in one of the big top 4 firms and providing advice to companies from multinational globals to smaller local state-based businesses and heaps of government agencies. So this is all around giving them advice around how to weather different things that come up in their business, managing crises, all those kinds of things. So I feel really well placed to support you with that. I also have a master's in accounting. I'm a chartered accountant. So I've spent a number of years at university studying finance, business, economics. Okay, so I fully feel like I'm very well placed to talk to you about that, along with the fact that I run my own business and I support clients every day in business around these kinds of things. So what we are seeing at the moment, I know feels very unprecedented, and the effects are very quickly rippling through the economy. And that's what I wanted to talk about, because what I am helping my clients with in their business are things that I helped clients with from my consulting background, that I navigated through the GFC, all those kinds of things. And what we're being called to do now is to adapt, to innovate, and pivot. Okay, so these are the kinds of things I'm helping my clients with at the moment. And as coaches and in small business, we are so blessed because we have the ability to do those things really quickly. It's much harder to adapt, innovate, and pivot when you're a large business. But having said that, we're seeing other businesses do that. Woolworths and Coles are leading the way by doing that through changing the way that their business operates for their clients or their consumers or their customers to meet what's happening at the moment. So for example, in Australia, we're seeing that Woolworths and Coles, who, if you're not in Australia, they're our largest supermarket chains, they are going and opening their the supermarkets an hour earlier for people who need that. So elderly, people with disabilities, people who are in the highly compromised immune state, they are opening the supermarkets early for them. So they are adapting and very quickly to meet the needs of their clients at this time. That's the kinds of thing I'm helping my clients do at the moment too. So we are being called to really adapt, innovate, pivot, okay? That's what I really see, and that's what came through the global financial crisis too. That's what I've consulted with businesses on doing through the various things that have come up that have caused kind of these economic kind of challenges, let's use the word challenges, over the past kind of decade. That's what I've done in my career. So at the moment, hi Kristen, it's lovely to see you here. At the moment, that's really what we are doing. Now, I believe people need one-to-one coaching now more than ever. Because, for example, I have clients in North America, in Europe, in the UK, and scattered in cities all around Australia. The situation in every country and location is quite different at the moment. You know, my client in Europe is facing hugely different circumstances to my clients in Australia. Okay, and this is the benefit of one-to-one coaching, is that we get to chat through and develop strategies and those innovations and those pivots to meet the circumstances for each individual. It's quite individualized at the moment. Every business is being confronted through this situation in a different way. And every country and location is also being confronted by this in a different way. It's evolving and it's changing, and we're all kind of going through this, but it's very different. So people are craving that individualized one-to-one support. So I'm helping my clients with things like Innovate. So we are doing things, so many people, I'm supporting them to move online, okay? I have a client who does a lot of her business in a face-to-face manner, and we were chatting yesterday through my support system about how to innovate and pivot and take more of her offerings online to help people at the moment. We also chatted about doing like a shorter sort of mini package that she could offer to people that would be a lower cost, a shorter offering, a different level of support to help them navigate like the next 30 days, right? So that's what people are really looking for, is like, how can they latch on and get the support they need right now? And that means we might have to adapt and tailor and pivot some of the things we have existingly to meet people where they're at right now. I was going to say something else there and it just shot through my head and out the other side. I have another client who relies a lot on face-to-face networking for generating clients at the moment. And that, again, we're requiring to pivot. We're looking at different ways that she can communicate, the way that she can get her message out, the way that she can continue to connect with clients, given she's in a place where there is lockdown. Okay, so these things are happening. And what I know is that businesses who are going to come out of this stronger are the ones that stand up and show leadership, who pivot and show up and offer adaptive and innovative solutions that meet their clients where they're at right now. They're the people that are going to come out of this stronger. And I know it means for some people putting things aside that were planned. It means parking launches and offering something different. It might mean pivoting your message or pivoting who you work with or pivoting the way that you are doing your business right now. Okay, I know that's not always easy, but that's what we're really being invited to do right now, is pivot, adapt, and innovate. Okay, especially with the messaging. I think like I'm working with a lot of clients at the moment around pivoting their messaging. I don't think it's easy to carry on just exactly as you were before this hit right now. It feels out of place in the current kind of social media, online space, if you're just continuing to show up exactly as you were before and not kind of adapting and pivoting your message to meet this circumstance. So that's really what I'm working with my clients on. What I feel, and I don't have a crystal ball, so this is not a prediction or anything, but I just have a feeling that this happened so quickly, and I don't know. I know this will pass. These circumstances always do. I have a feeling it could happen a lot quicker than we're anticipating, the way it just blew in so quickly, and it could just change again so quickly coming out the other end. But the Australian government is advising around 6 months, okay? People's behaviour is changing immediately now, and I know we're seeing the impacts of that, but people cannot sustain those changes in their spending habits, the changes in the way that they consume services. They cannot sustain that for 6 months, okay? So it's kind of like a wave where as the fear kicks in, people immediately change their habits and they just cannot sustain that. So they will be spending money, wanting services, wanting support through this, and the people they're going to be reaching out to are the ones who are speaking to where they're at right now. So I really want you to consider that and start thinking about that. Like, where do I need to pivot? Where do I need to adapt what I'm doing? Where can I innovate and offer something that meets people where they're at right now? Because people are looking for that kind of support. People aren't traveling. People are getting refunds left, right, and center. I know it's not for everything. Some people are getting credits. I'm not going to speak to all of that. But even people who had holidays planned, for example, over the Easter period, all that money that was being set aside for spending is now not kind of allocated. People have more time. Events are being cancelled. People are sitting around at home. In Australia, our schools are still open. In other countries, I have clients in countries where the schools are closed. But people have more time, okay? More time at home, more time not going out on the weekends, more times not going to events, and less travel on the horizon in the future. So people are in a spot where I believe looking for support, looking to implement some of the changes in their life and their lifestyles and their businesses that they have been not having enough time for up until now. So now is really a time where we can step in and support people with that, okay? So where do you need to adapt? I'm just going to say these words again: adapt, innovate, or pivot to meet people where they're at right now. This is exactly what businesses are doing. We're seeing examples on the big scale, like the Coles and the Woolworths. We're seeing it with Qantas, which is the Australian, airline. God, my brain. We're seeing big businesses lead the way with this, but small businesses, we have such an advantage where we can do this so quickly. You could go and pivot your messaging today. You could go and put out a new offer today, right? You don't have all the bureaucracy to work through. So this is exactly what I'm supporting my clients with at the moment. So if you're finding yourself in that position where you don't quite know what to do at the moment, I really believe now is the best time to be working on your business, and businesses that adapt, innovate, pivot are going to come out of this stronger, whether it's tomorrow, whether it's 2 weeks from now, whether it's 30 days from now, whether it's 3 months from now. That's the part, I guess, we don't quite know when this is going to pass, but I believe consumer behavior will not stay as it is for the next 6 months, okay? People are still wanting to spend money. People are still wanting to make changes in their life. People are craving guidance, leadership, support more than ever. And because the circumstances are so different for everybody, people need that one-to-one level of support so that everything is really specific to them. So I think now is the time, as long as you are fit, healthy, you don't have those, any of those challenges confronting you, now is the time to step up and support people more. As coaches, I really feel like this is the time where people are craving your support. So whether it means instead of offering a 3-month coaching program, you offer something like a 30-day Voxer coaching program, which is like voice memo or like WhatsApp, right? There are different things. So if you work with mums who suddenly have their children at home, you can provide immediate WhatsApp support to them without having to schedule in times. There are a whole different bunch of adaptations that I'm making, which I'll talk about on another day. I just really want to show up and invite you to think about that, because I think there are 2 options here to kind of fight your way through and continue as you have been, and not necessarily getting the best outcomes. Or I feel like for a lot of people, it's just little tweaks, little refinements, little pivots, little shifts to really set yourself up to come out from this stronger. So Kristen said, even on a small business level, I've seen people adapting with local cafes now offering a takeaway menu where they hadn't before, home delivery services. Exactly, right? So people are being so innovative because business, there are still a lot of services that people require, and I think people are looking for that more. And so when you can adapt and innovate and think about different things, that's so much we're seeing. Gyms offering online classes, businesses offering delivery, the supermarkets changing their opening hours and offering different offers, different solutions for different people in the marketplace. So when I went back and did some research on the GFC, Netflix and Amazon boomed coming out of the GFC because they adapted. Netflix did home delivery video before the GFC, and they used that time to adapt to the changing technology, and they came out as a leader, okay? So when you're calling in ideas for adaptation and innovation, it actually sets you out for leadership. It actually helps your business remain stronger through this, and you are setting yourself up for the future, because as with everything, I'm just relying on the GFC as just a recent example, but we have seen these economic things come up approximately every 10 years. If you go back over history, these are always predicted to come up every 10 years. So there was the tech boom kind of thing, and then fall that happened in the early 2000s. We had the GFC around the not mid 2000s, but the 10 years later, let's just say, we had something in the early 1990s, something in the early 1980s. So these things happen time and time again. And what happens is, after this event passes, the economy booms. Okay, I'm going to pull out some charts to share in my socials over the coming days. But after every time where we have this dip, we saw it in Australia. House prices after the GFC in many cities doubled and tripled. Okay, the big banks who suffered major stresses came up with record profits year after year coming out of this. We saw companies like Netflix and Amazon, which I mentioned before, come out of these stronger. Okay, so are you setting yourself up as well to be in a position to be there for people when the tide turns, right? What we see is people's behavior changes immediately. It's like a wave, and they just revert back to their norms. So everyone at the moment is like, they're still spending money. They are going out and buying groceries. They are stocking up their house with various things. People are still spending money. It's just the behavior has just changed a little bit, but it doesn't stay like that. It reverts back to the normal because human beings are human beings, and they just don't change their behavior that permanently overnight. Okay, so what I really want you to consider is like, what do I need to adapt and innovate now to weather this storm and to show up for my people and to strengthen my business, because people need me now more than ever. Okay, and what do I need to be doing to be positioned to be able to support people when we come out of this? And people are going to be reflecting, taking away lessons. There are going to be some changes and shifts in the human kind of consciousness coming out of this. And there is going to be, I believe, I'm just going off history. This is not financial advice. This is just an opinion. But history shows us that after these dips, the economy comes out stronger again. It roars out of these events. So are you positioning yourself in a way where you are ready for that? Because now is the time while those innovations and adaptations, maybe things like system changes, technology upgrades, getting yourself ready for coming out of this as well. So I really wanted to share that with you today. I hope that helps as you catch the replay. Let me know your thoughts. If you have specific questions on this, I really want to, from a business standpoint and small business, I really want to be supporting you through this. So feel free, you can either DM me your questions, you can come into the group, the Coaches Collective, and ask questions. I'm currently offering free 30-minute sessions to people who I haven't had a session with before around future-proofing your profit. So once I finish this live, I'll drop the link in the comments. You can book one of those. This is a chance to talk about how well set up you are to future-proof your profit, to profit now and into the future. And we're going to look at the top 2 things you need to focus on coming out of that. And I also have one-off sessions, okay? I know now is the time my clients are so grateful that they have me on their team right now, because all of us are navigating this. I am so grateful that I have a coach to go and talk to about this right now. So if you don't have that support and you're not quite in a position where you want to take long-term coaching up, I really encourage you to reach out and book in a one-off session. So I do a 2-hour intensive session. We can do a deep dive and work through all these things. Where do you need to adapt? Where do you need to pivot? Where do you need to innovate? Where is your marketing needing to shift? And where is like your money and your profitability and your financial aspects of your business need to shift? That's what we can do in a 2-hour intensive. They're called Clarity and Confidence, but that's really what we'll do in that. So I really invite you to do those, because I know my people are craving support and guidance right now. There are questions coming up. How do I show up for my people right now? Can I still sell right now? How do I help people see that this is the most important thing they can be doing right now? All those kinds of things which I can support you with, okay? So if you want to ask sort of more general questions, hop into the Coaches Collective or just DM me and I will create content from the questions that you guys have. If you have specific questions about your business, feel free to reach out for one of those 30-minute sessions or the intensive, okay? Most people, if on a 30-minute session you need a deeper dive, the intensive will be the next step. But it's a nice chance to just get my eyes on your business, and let's strategize around how you can strengthen yourself now and how you can strengthen yourself for the inevitable upturn that will happen, okay? That's what I wanted to share with you today. I hope you are all staying safe, staying healthy wherever you are in the world. The situation is just so different everywhere. So it's really hard. In Australia, it's not as challenging as it is in some of the other locations. So I totally understand that if you're watching from somewhere else, your circumstances can be very different. So I'm not necessarily living that, but my clients are, and I'm supporting them through that as well. So I will love you and leave you there. I hope you are navigating this as best we can. One other comment, this is not related to business, but I really feel from like a mindset perspective, now is the time to be upping your self-care, okay? Making that a priority, turning off the social media, doing your self-care, like a mindset practices, rituals, okay? We may need to be spending more time doing those things than we have before. I know I certainly have. There is a collective kind of anxiety, right? And we can't help but absorb some of that. And now, you can shift that for yourself. So just a little side note there, remember to take care of yourself and do those practices that really serve you. So I'll love you and leave you there. I'll chat with you soon. Have a great Thursday. Bye.